Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me again for another very special virtual visit to Ireland. We are heading to County Galway today, and my guest is Siobhan Sloan, who runs Essential Food Trails, and she's going to talk to us about the farm to fork experiences that she offers there in Galway. So, Siobhan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello, Jody. Thank you very much for inviting me to your podcast. Very
So,
happy to be speaking to you today.
And my mouth is watering. It is early morning here in the US, so breakfast time, and you have food sitting in front of you, and I'm very, very envious of that because it looks absolutely delicious.
Well, it smells delicious here, so I'm sorry you can't get the aroma, but at least you can get the visuals, and I will tell you a little bit about all of the different produce.
I know we need smell-o-vision.
Yes.
So, so can you tell us before we dig into this feast that you have in front of you, can you tell us a little bit about Essential Food Trails and the experiences that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So, with Essential Food Trails, farm to fork experiences, I offer a road trip food tour in the west of Ireland. So um, the main area, it's County Galway, the Sliabh Aughty region, and I would describe it for anyone who's familiar with the idea of a wine tour. Now, of course, in Ireland, we don't grow grapes or produce wine, but what we do grow is lush green grass, trees, and flowers. So it is what I would say a wine tour, but with cows and bees.
Yum, because I love cows and bees because they produce some delicious, delicious foods. So the Sliabh Aughty region is one that most people probably haven't heard of, and I know we're going to go into that a little bit, but you actually have three food experiences. So where are the other two, just so people can maybe get a bearing of your area?
Yeah, so I have three trails. So the Sliabh Aughty, as we've mentioned, and then the Burren, which is the limestone region in County Clare. People are probably familiar with it. So it's got a great food culture going on there as well. A lot of small producers, and of course, it's got the beautiful limestone landscape, and it is on the Atlantic coast. And then I also do a supper club. So
Oh,
that's,
fun.
yes, so that is again more at the Galway Sliabh Aughty region. So it's more of a late afternoon, early evening where we'll visit one of the farms, and then we go to a fine dining restaurant for a tasting menu, which is all local produce, and as well as that, a lot of foraged ingredients.
That
So
sounds
foraging
fun.
is, yeah. So that's the three. But as we were saying, I'll talk you through a little about the Sliabh Aughty daytime experience.
So the Sliabh Aughty region is an area that, like you said, most people haven't heard of. It's not a term that you hear a lot in Connemara or in Galway. You hear about Connemara and then obviously Galway City, but Sliabh Aughty is unknown.
It is. So the Sliabh Aughty region, and Sliabh is the Irish for mountain. So it is actually one of Ireland's largest mountain ranges, but less known and less visited. And it's got rich grasslands, so the slopes of the mountains support a lot of agriculture. It's a very traditional farming region, so not necessarily known as a tourist region or a tourist destination, very much small family farms. It's also got a lot of folk memory and folklore about the medicinal uses of plants, so the wild plants. And so it's only really in recent years, I suppose, as Ireland's food story around the whole country has very much come to the fore, that this region, which is producing all of this amazing food, cheese, honey, meat, but hasn't really been shouting about it. So that was kind of what inspired me to start up the farm to fork experiences, to help to connect the producers with the people who are really interested in seeing where the food is produced and the people behind it.
So where, if you're looking at a map of County Galway, where is this region at?
So it's East Galway. So people will be familiar with Galway City. And to the west of Galway City is Connemara, beautiful, very just beautiful, very well known area. So the Sliabh Aughty is to the east of Galway City.
Excellent. So you have a feast in front of you and you have a hamper beside you that is filled with, it just looks like beautiful, beautiful items. So let's do a bit of a virtual tasting and have you tell us about the bounty of the region.
I will. So as you mentioned, this hamper, which I just put together so you could get a visual of some of the beautiful products. And here I have a little platter to help. So I hope you can get a nice visual of that. So on our Sliabh Aughty farm to fork trip, one of our first stops in the morning would be a traditional beekeepers. So as I was mentioning, the area, lots of it quite unspoiled. So we've got lots of wildflowers, and the honey that is produced, it varies with the season. So bees are amazing, and they gather the nectar from whatever flowers are in season. So this is a heather honey. There is also there'll be whitethorn blossom, wildflowers, whatever is in season. So when we arrive, we will meet Noel, who is the beekeeper, and it's very much a hands-on personal experience. So we will go sit down with him in his kitchen, have a cup of tea and some scones and a chat, and he will tell us a little bit about the bees, and we will even get to put on our beekeeping hats, and then we'll walk down through the orchards and get to see the bees at work. And then we will come back and try some of the produce. So I had used the comparison of a wine tour, a little bit like that, because we'll taste the different honeys. So people might get the subtle differences. We'll pair them with foods, even cheese. So I have some of the cheese here, which we'll be going to visit where that's made next. So I won't tell you too much about that yet, but we taste the honey with the cheese. And this is really exciting. This is a beer. So Galway Hooker, that's from those traditional sailing boats in Galway Bay. This is a beer, a local beer company, that it's infused with wild summer blossom honey, actually. And okay, I'm going to riskily open this bottle of beer live on air and hope that it doesn't. Okay, we're doing good so far. I'll pour it out so you can see. So look it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
There you go.
So we get to, look at the color.
That is a beautiful beer. What kind is that? I don't know beer. So is this is it an ale? I know it's not a stout. I know that much.
Yeah, it would be considered a lager beer. It just smells beautiful. It really does. And it's such just that golden color.
It's a beautiful, it's beautiful in the glass.
It really is, and I think it's very representative of the innovation with these traditional products and local producers getting together. That's really a huge part of it, that they're getting together to see what can we do to bring new audiences as well. So there is it's gorgeous.
So honey and beer. That's a great start to a tour.
Isn't it? Yeah, it is. So let me see, that is the beekeeper. And what we aim to do as well is that the journeys between stops aren't too long, so maybe 20 minutes. But at that, we're traveling through lovely Irish country roads, boreens, those iconic stone walls, which themselves have so much history because they're go back hundreds of years and are just repaired. So when somebody asks, how old is that wall? It's really hard to know. It could be 500 years, but it's been fixed up last week, but it's the same stones. So that's just a little idea of where we're traveling through. So the lovely rolling grasslands and the traditional stone buildings.
So you have a few other things in front of you. I know I'm seeing some apple and definitely the cheese, which we've mentioned. So what other stops can people expect on that tour?
So we then would visit a traditional dairy farm. So this cheese that you're seeing, it's a beautiful aged cheese. If you can see the rind, so that's a washed rind. So it's all edible. So it's Kylemore Farmhouse Cheese is the family farm. And talking about the food and getting to taste it, the farmhouse goes back generations, and we, after our farm visit, we go to the drawing room, as it would be, or an afternoon tea. But this cheese, so it's a grass-fed Frisian herd. So those Frisian cows are the black and white. They're quite iconic again. The black and white cows that people might be familiar with even from paintings and photographs. So we visit the milking parlour, and it really is, the milking parlour and the cheese house are steps away from each other. So this cheese is from milk that is only produced during the summer. So it's sort of April.
Very sweet grasses then.
Very sweet grasses, yes. So you can taste the cheese, the milk.
And Irish dairy products are so rich. And somebody was asking me yesterday, what is the difference with Irish butter and American butter? And I said, there's just no comparison. The sweetness of the grass comes through, and the cows just produce almost more milk fat that just makes everything more rich and creamy, and there's no comparison.
Exactly, because I have here
this
is some brown bread. Now I'm very fortunate. My husband Patrick is a bit of an amateur baker, so he very kindly baked some traditional Irish bread for us this morning. But talking about the butter, that is Irish dairy butter, and just the yellow golden color of it. That's
so beautiful.
It's the color and the creaminess. So
yeah, you're so skilled at reaching around that beer, because it would have been gone by now if it were me. I would have hit it.
It looks too pretty. I don't want to move it. So tasting the milk from that, it's delicious. It's creamy. It's like vanilla ice cream. I think so. That shows you we really are so lucky to have such beautiful produce in Ireland. And as I was saying, we up until probably the last 10 years, we didn't shout about it at all, but we are now.
That is so true. Ireland has really undergone kind of a food revolution, and they're not burying the foods and trying to maybe make them French or make them something that they're not. And the full flavors are coming through, and the fact that everything is so local and so fresh. Most people can tell you exactly where their food has come from, which is quite unique.
It is. And as you say, it's not about masking the ingredients. It's about letting them speak for themselves. So very, I would say, simple, but elegant, refined. you have your cheese, and you just have some simple things to go with it to allow the flavors to speak for themselves. Oh yeah, so we've gotten the milk, and we've got the milk from the cows. So the cheese house, which is on the farm, just beside the house, it's all handmade. So you can go in and see the process, and then walk through the aging house. So this cheese, as I was saying, it's sweet, summer milk, and then it's aged for up to 2 years. And some of the other, how we would have it, how we taste it, is the afternoon tea in the country house. This is another local producer. So the reason I have an apple here, this is an apple chutney. So again, probably 20 minutes down the road from where the cheese is made, these guys make beautiful relishes. And might even try some of the honey from earlier, and lovely local scones, beautiful scones. I have to show you these as well, just so people can have a sense of just gorgeous. So these are spring onion and cheese scones or scones, depending on how you say it.
Oh, you're going to have a feast after we're off.
I know, it's great because it's lunchtime here, so this is ideal.
So when you're doing your tours, about how long can people expect to spend with you touring this region and tasting and speaking to the producers? What can people expect as far as time with you?
So it's really a full day. It's a full day farm to fork experience. Probably six hours on the go. So yeah, it's a full day. As I say, we would head off in the morning, go to, for example, the honey, then the cheese house, and another little spot we would go to is, because I had mentioned foraging, so there is the name Sliabh Aughty again, but it's the Sliabh Aughty Centre, which is an organic farm, and they have beautiful woodlands there. I just have a very small, they're not looking too healthy, but some of the foraged things. So this lovely white flower is wild garlic. I'm not sure if it is familiar to you. Some dandelions and nettles. So these can all be used in salads. So that's another element. And a chance obviously to get out in the open air. And I had mentioned earlier a bit of my inspiration for really starting the food trail and the farm to fork experiences is that people had been so modest almost about it. And a food historian, Dara Goldstein, that I had read, had described Ireland's food culture as an expression of the land and the sea. And that just really resonated with me. So we haven't mentioned the sea yet, but this will usually be towards the second half of the day as we're getting ready to go back to whether it's Galway City or Limerick or Adare, wherever people are staying, is the oyster. So for me, I think the oyster is the essential Irish food. Maybe not everybody's taste, but even it's such an interesting food. And in the past, Irish people would have eaten tons of oysters. So whereas now they're very much considered luxury, refined, elegant, and they are all of this, and they taste like the sea. They taste like going for a swim, really. But they would have been very, very abundant. People would have eaten lots of them. And even in the archaeology of the region, where you'll have maybe abandoned villages. There are, archaeologists have found middens, so stacks and stacks of oyster shells, just showing that they were really, really a regular everyday food item. Whereas now they are one of these things, they're really appreciated, and it very much is, you either love them or you don't. But luckily I love them, and I certainly like to share them with visitors. So
yeah, and Galway is very famous for their oysters.
Very, very famous for their oysters. So really, you couldn't leave it out.
Not without even a little try, even if it's something that you don't maybe appreciate as much as others. There's just something about being in a place where they're so renowned that you should still maybe give it a try, even if it's not your favorite thing.
Absolutely. Like, I remember being in Barcelona and snails were really popular. I didn't enjoy them, but I tried them. But then I actually tried them another few years later. Maybe my palate had developed and I had a new appreciation. So yeah, you have to try things.
Definitely. Definitely. So this is a full day experience that people
Yes.
can enjoy with you. They're not going to leave hungry, obviously, and they're going to get a full taste, really a full taste of not only Galway, but really of Ireland. It's very, people don't really think of Ireland as being an agricultural country, but agriculture is such a big part of it. And I think that this really encompasses everything that Ireland is producing, but just maybe in one region, because obviously your flavors vary, your butchers vary by area, and your cheesemakers vary by area and the type of milk and cow. But I think that this is a really great, well-rounded experience for people who really want to get a taste of Ireland.
It absolutely is. And it's a really good thing to do early on in your visit, because, well, apart from anything, when people meet me, I can give them recommendations of what to do on the rest of their trip, or they might be introduced to a product, and then when they go to restaurants elsewhere, I mean, Galway City, the restaurants there are fabulous, and they're really supportive of all of these producers. So you go to Culmore Farmhouse Cheese and meet Teresa on her family farm, and then you'll find her cheese in a dish in Galway City, and it really shows the connection.
It's very true. And a lot of the times, especially in the smaller, maybe more bespoke type restaurants, they will tell you exactly what is in each dish, and it just really brings home that connection of the restaurants and the local producers. And I think that's one of the more charming aspects of Ireland, is that everyone kind of has that equal billing. You know, the chef is like, here's what I've used to make this great dish. And you know, it's not just my prowess in the kitchen, it's these amazing products that I've used.
Absolutely, it's all about the products. And I actually have one more to show you. Just when we were speaking about the oysters, we're very lucky that on the trail, there's a lovely little village called Claren Bridge, and that's where the Oyster Festival that's been running for 65 years originated. And it's on an estuary of the Atlantic Ocean. So that's where one of the places where we would do our meeting the oyster farmer and having a tasting, because there's a lovely little country pub which has an amazing kitchen. And this is another feature of Ireland, that the pub kitchen is something,
it's not like a pub elsewhere where you're getting maybe bar food. These are they just turn out the most amazing dishes.
Absolutely. And that's where we would do our oysters. So as I said, I love them raw, but people might have them baked. And it's also a good spot to try poaching.
Yes.
So to round off our food tour. So this is Michiel poaching. Now this is actually a Connemara family. So that's the other side. But their distillery is in Salt Hill Village, which is just outside Galway City. But we can do a little, okay, definitely 5 o'clock somewhere at this stage.
The poaching, for those who don't know, is an almost, I guess moonshine is probably the closest thing to relate it to. Illegal for many, many years and quite potent.
Exactly. So this is 46% alcohol. It's oats and barley. So yes, the Porrick, the guy who runs the distillery now, is 6th generation. Imagine 6th generation. So this is the poaching. So it's a clear white spirit.
So pure.
Oh, really? So it's really peaty, malty, oaty. So you'd have to try a little bit of it. And again, you can visit the distillery. Again, it's not on our trail because it's in the other side of Galway, but I can introduce you to the spirit and then show you how to get there. They do a lovely distillery tour. So there is our poaching, and that is very much the land in a glass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, Siobhan, your tour looks, well, first of all, it looks delicious. And just so incredible, the experiences that you're going to lead people to. So can you tell people what is the best way to get in touch with you to book a tour, and how can they kind of, keep up with you and what you're doing, maybe via social media?
Absolutely. So I suppose the first way is the website, which is essentialfoodtrails.com. And I also have Instagram, which is Essential Food Trails, Facebook, Essential Food Trails. I'm on Twitter as well. That's Farm to Fork Life, just due to Twitter. So yeah, I love to keep in contact with people. I like to share stories and images, especially on Instagram is great for the visual. Mm-hmm. I have a newsletter if people want to sign up. So lots and lots of ways to get in touch. It's very much, it's myself, Siobhan. I'm the person behind it. I'm the person they'll meet. Myself and the different farmers, we were in contact all the time. So all of us love to chat.
And I know that your Facebook page, you're very active there. You are sharing videos and recipes and talking about the producers. So I think your Facebook page does a great job of really sharing that Irish food story.
Oh, thank you so much, Jodie. Yes, I've recently started writing a blog. So that's on my website, but I share it. So I've done one about wild garlic pesto, and my most recent one is just a short little history about bread making in Ireland. So I'm always writing more little stories and sharing them. So anyone, I'd love to follow me, sign up, and absolutely book a tour when you're coming to Ireland.
Tour. Spend a day with Siobhan and get a great taste of Ireland. Well, Siobhan, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today, and you're all set for a wonderful brunch, lunch,
yes,
possibly
a poaching
evening spirit. So thank you so much for taking the time today, and gosh, that just looks amazing. I'm a bit envious as I sit here right now.
Thank you so much, Jodie. It was great to talk to you. So I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And Sláinte.
Sláinte.